So I heard about this from my friend, right? And I did not first believe this. What's a good uh this? Usually I choose the fucking site before, but apparently there's a game called Black Myth Wukong, right? And it's supposed to be, I'm assuming it's going to be a Souls like. Only you play a character, you play this character, which is, well, Wukong. And, you know, it talks about, I think it's supposed to revolve around the Chinese mythos. And it seems like a very interesting game. Like, I'm already hyped for it. But apparently, yet again, Sweet Baby is trying to reach their grubby little hands into every single game and every single project being made, especially across the seas. Because in America, it's almost like you're forced to do this, otherwise, you're boycotted from all ends of the fucking gaming sphere. But foreign companies for a while has avoided this. They've avoided paying the inclusivity mafia money just to have their seal of approval on their games, right? And because of that, games across the seas, so like Japanese games, Chinese games, games from other countries, South Korean, like they've end up just being better products, right? Because here's the thing: people say art is subjective, but art objectively cannot thrive in a system where there are stories you're simply not allowed to say, or there's ways of predicting um, you know, expressing characters that are just simply not allowed. Right? It's like, well, that objectively ruins art. Because here's the fact of the matter, right? Art isn't just supposed to make you feel happy and good. Like, some things can make you feel disgusted, some things can make you feel sad, some things can make you feel angry. And this is 100% fine. Like, I don't know where we came, and I'm talking about the gaming industry and entertainment industry as a whole. I don't know where we went where we're just not allowed to tell certain stories, right? Because again, you have the idea of people who do not play video games that when they see something in the game, they think it's an expression of the creator themselves. It's like, oh, so you, the creator, must think this because you're putting this in the game. And it's like, well, no, like that's mentally ill. Like maybe that's just a story he or she's trying to tell, right? But again, people who do not play video games, who think games are childish, and think, oh, they need to profligate their ideology in these things because they have the moral crusade to do so. They don't think like this, or at least they're chasing some sort of grift. Like they're trying to uplift themselves with ideology. And the people who genuinely believe there are issues and the ideology can address those issues, right? They are forced to defend these individuals. But back on this whole Sweet Baby thing, apparently Sweet Baby tried extorting 7 million from the company that was making Black Myth Wukong. And when my friend told me this, I was like, well, that sounds like something they would do, right? That's not, again, it's a protection tax. As long as you pay the protection tax, you can make whatever story you want. Like, you can make the most racist, the most sexist, the most homophobic story as long as you pay the tax, as long as you pay the consultants, right? You can make the most disgusting sexual bullshit ever as long as you pay the tax, right? But if you don't, it doesn't even, again, like in Stellar Blade, right? Upshift, the company that made that game, they did not pay, they chose not to pay the tax. And again, people attacked them, people boycotted them. People attack people who played the game, right? Because this is also the newest American consumer mental illness. If you consume a game, right, it means you must agree with the politics or must agree with everything about the. You're not just playing a fucking game to escape all that, right? Because this is why I play games, right? I play video games to escape all of that, but again, people don't think like again the people who are trying to propagate their ideology, right, don't think this way. They're like, no, you will experience this in your games. We will put it in the games, and you will like it. Otherwise, you're a racist or a sexist or a transphobe. Like this is how the ideology thinks, and anyone who doesn't agree with that or of that ideology, they just I guess they're probably just living in the 2018 era. Like they've probably been living under a rock, or they choose not to pay attention to that side of the ideology. And again, by the ideology, I mean the woke ideology, right? The ideology that demands everything you enjoy, everything you play, everything you see has their messages in it. Otherwise, that thing and you are a very bad person. Like, no, people legitimately think this way. Like, the mental illness has gone this far. And you're like, well, 7 million seems like a lot. And it's like, well, it is to us, right? The people who work for a fucking living. But how much money does it take to make a game? Like, what? 350 mil, 300 mil. Let's just say 350 mil, because that's how much it costs the Spider-Man game, right? So 350 mil from 7 million from 350 million. That's like 0.02. No, that's like 2%, right? Of the whole. Again, I don't do well with division and fractions and fucking percentages. But I think that's around 5% of that number. So if you think of it in that way, it's like, well, it is absolutely doable. I mean, it's not, because again, you take the sheer amount of time plus the fact that like whoever made the Spider-Man 2 game is an overbloated multi-billion-dollar company, right? And I assume the devs from this game are just, you know, some Chinese company in China that just made the game, and they probably made it with a tenth of the budget that most AAA or I guess quadruple A games are made. So again, if you think about it that way, this is absolutely something they could try to do. And again, they only need a single company, right, across the seas who don't understand what the ideology that's going around in entertainment and don't understand how the games are played to fall for this. And that's like a what, free $7 fucking million in the bag. But obviously, it failed, right? Like, I believe the company outwardly said that they refused to work with the company. Like, they refused to add the ideology of Sweet Baby that is not even applicable in this game. And they're like, no, we don't need to hire y'all to write a story. We can write it ourselves. I think more companies in, I guess, even in the West are doing this. It's like, for Sweet Baby in particular, people are like, well, you could barely cancel a single guy who made the Steam curator list of your games. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell are you gonna do for us? And it's like, we don't want to be we don't want to be with a brand that just has sort of a stink on it, because Sweet Baby is like the stain on the gaming industry. I'm so glad Asmongold pointed this out, because it's something that absolutely needed to be pointed out, right? You know, people need to start pointing out the hacks in the industry. You know, people who can use woke ideology to uplift themselves, right? And they'll crawl over even people of the same ideology that has good intentions. They'll crawl over them and eventually even get them canceled just to move themselves up because they don't create anything, right? This is the problem with the ideology, at least in the entertainment industry. It doesn't create new games. It latches on the games, it latches on the IPs that have already existed and that already made money. And it's parasitic. Like, look, if you have this ideology, just make a game. Make your own game with your own story and put your own creativity into it. But that's just not what they want to do. They want to be the Sweet Baby of the world and just latch on to things. So I 100% believe this is something that has happened, right? Because, again, you take how much it takes to actually make a video game, plus the fact that these things, like these hacks like Sweet Baby, are trying to weasel their way into foreign companies that don't understand how things are going, don't understand the whole ideology that seeks to parasite all the IPs that exist. And again, and people defend Sweet Baby. Like, people defend these types of people, or at least pretend they don't exist. So yeah, I'm 100% believe it might not have happened the way people say. Like, try to extort 7 million. Like, that's sexist cancel campaign backfires. Yeah, I mean, this is 100% something Sweet Baby does. You know, they act like a mafia. They're like, pay us money or we will throw all allegations at you. And it's like, no, these are mafia tactics. And sexism in a game about Chinese mythology, like Nunny, it is just whatever. Again, my whole thing about this is I'm even more hyped about this game than I was before, because they pretty much told a consultation company that doesn't add to art. If anything, they take away, to go fuck themselves. So I'm even more hyped about this game. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. See ya.